大家好，歡迎嚟到 Pathway Jazz Drum Channel， 我係 Felix。今日好開心咧，為大家去介紹咧一位好出名嘅爵士樂鼓手，佢喺亞洲裏邊又好出名嘅，佢叫 Hong， 咁啊佢全名咧叫 Chanutr Techatana-nan。係泰國嘅一位爵士樂手，佢喺泰國嘅一個打鼓比賽，佢攞到No.1 啦。咁啊，佢而家咧就喺泰國一個知名嘅音樂學府 Silpakorn University 嘅音樂學院嘅 Jazz Studies 裏邊咧，係擔任呢個 Jazz Coordinator。咁佢亦都係咧喺亞洲裏邊咧一個好出名嘅The Asian Jazz All-Star Power Quartet 嘅鼓手嚟嘅。咁佢其中一個成員咧就係我哋香港好出名嘅吉他手 Biography。呢位鼓手咧就係呢一個咁犀利嘅 group 嘅一個長期嘅鼓手啦。咁咧會有更多嘅佢嘅介紹咧喺下邊嘅 info 嘅。個訪問咧就幾長下嘅，咁啊大家咧就細心欣賞，係值得大家去睇晒嘅，因為咧有好豐富嘅內容。咁我哋即刻開始啦。
Good. Yeah, I went to, I was at school today teaching. Usually I teach at Silpakorn like 3 days a week.
I see.
3 days a week. I'm teaching both bachelor degree student and master degree student at Silpakorn. We have all the levels ranging from bachelor, master to doctoral degree. In music. Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah.
Is it?
What about in Hong Kong?
No.
You have I think you have. I can't remember. I think 5 or maybe 7, 8 years ago, I was with my faculty colleagues from Silpakorn visiting one of the school in Hong Kong, maybe Hong Kong Performing Arts or something.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a school there, right? Teaching, but only classical music, not jazz.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. In Hong Kong, there's no jazz studies, jazz faculties, all classical, or is the Chinese music.
Yeah, Chinese like traditional
music. Yes.
Yeah. But you have so many great jazz musicians over there, like Eugene Pao, like he considered to be one of the most famous, most extra bridge guitar player.
Yes.
Not just in Hong Kong, but in Asia. Yes. I think I have worked with a lot of Hong Kong jazz musicians over the years, like Eugene Pao. I have worked, Teriver Cheung.
Yeah.
I have worked with so many others like Ted Lowe.
Yes.
And some others, to name a few. In Hong Kong, jazz scene in Hong Kong, I think is pretty much happening. Same as in Bangkok. And before COVID, when we were allowed to travel, right, before COVID, so many jazz musicians from Hong Kong, I think, came to Bangkok to play gigs here, and vice versa. Some of the Thai musicians, went to Hong Kong to play some gigs, but we don't see it these days because of COVID.
Yeah,
I think it would be cooler to have a glass of whiskey and we drink, you drink.
Yeah, I missed today. I was in Bangkok, hanging with you guys. It's so.
When was that? When you were in Bangkok. So for those listening to this, Felix was in Bangkok. You were in Bangkok when 2 years ago or last year? Not last year, right? 2018 or 2019?
last year, 19.
Oh, 19?
Yes.
It
September.
seemed longer to me. It seemed longer to me.
Yeah.
So meaning that you were here just like a year ago, September. Right now it's October.
Yes,
so
it's
you were here
September.
just like last year. Wow.
Yeah.
And you were like, so generous, coming here by yourself, carrying so heavy a heavy like two symbol case by yourself, on the plane, and you came to Silpakorn University straight from the airport, right? If I'm not mistaken, that day.
Yes.
You like, you didn't check in first, and you came straight from airport to Silpakorn, and Bangkok traffic, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it took you maybe like 2 or 3 hours from airport, to get to our location. And I gathered like maybe 20 or 30 Silpakorn jazz students to check out, Anatolian cymbals and some of the bob work sticks that you brought for Thai jazz musicians, Thai jazz students to try. That was very generous of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. For you to do that.
Actually, it's my pleasure to visit you all and to share and to listen lots of good music from you all and make friends with you.
The feeling is mutual, and we discussed like I think after that we discussed that you would come back because I recommended you to one of the great American drummers living in Bangkok, Sean Kelly, to try some of your cymbals, but that didn't work out because of the COVID situation. Because you were supposed to come during the COVID, right?
Around March.
Earlier this year. Earlier
this year
in March.
March.
And you even did book your ticket already?
But it's good. I cancel and they return refund.
You get a refund, right?
Yes, and it's good. So after the COVID, I'm planning another trip to Thailand. I'm missing you all so much.
Who come back soon, but not this year, I think, because we still have 2 weeks state quarantine for all visitors. So maybe next year, 2021.
Yes.
I think next year I think the situation, I believe that will get better. Finger crossed, and there will be no 2 weeks quarantine, and people will slowly travel more than 2020, I believe.
Yes.
For me too, because I used to travel a lot in 2000. I actually starting in 2010, I was very fortunate to travel a lot with Jeremy Monteiro, considered to be one of the great jazz musicians, jazz educator from Singapore, but he's considered to be one of the top jazz pianists in Asia. So I've been very lucky to work with him for so many years, get to travel with him, get to learn a lot on the road, get to play with so many great musicians that he introduced me to. Until 2019, we didn't get to do that this year because of the COVID. So I think all the jazz musicians have the same feelings as I have now, as I do, because we don't get to travel, get to go out and play the music that we like to do. Yeah, that's one bad thing that we are having to do now from the COVID situation.
Yeah. So during the COVID, is there any like a collaboration project? Is in the internet is so many collaboration projects. So and also I saw one of your project with Jeremy.
Yeah, I think that was the like a live stream concert to celebrate Jeremy's Monteiro 60th anniversary concert, his birthday, and to celebrate his live in music celebration. So that was like in July, if I'm not mistaken. Like because Jeremy, like throughout his career, he has done so with so many great world-class musicians, and he has collaborated with a lot of musicians throughout the region. So the idea is, was to gather all these musicians that used to play with him, to put together a group like different groups and do a live stream concert. But of course, all the music was pre-recorded. Yeah. So I got to play two songs with him, along with some other great musicians like Tony Lakatos, some other great jazz musicians that I played with. Very fortunate to be a part of the project. Yeah, and during the COVID, I think it's a good thing. I mean, when you experience a very bad situation, right? There's one good thing that usually come out of the situation. So I spend a lot of time in being in a lockdown at my place. So I upgraded a lot of recording gears at my studio, bought a lot of drum microphones, bought audio interface, because I wasn't really into the recording side before COVID, but during COVID no choice, right? You had to do something.
Yes.
So I learned a lot. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials, how to record drums, basic recording, not advanced level.
Yes.
So I upgraded, bought a lot of equipment to be able to record myself, and this project came along. So Jeremy sent me a track, I put it in Logic and recorded myself over, and sending back and forth the comments, and I think that's the way to go now, and thanks to COVID that allowed me to experience, to learn all this recording side of the music.
So jazz music is more about spontaneous reaction or interaction between musicians. So in this kind of collaboration through the internet, how is that the improvised part be possible to work out?
I think it's difficult to do a live, everything at the same time, like spontaneously, because of the internet connection. For example, when you're in Bangkok and you're pianist in Singapore and you're bass player in Germany, so it's impossible to. I think it's possible, but when you consider like our home technology, the technology that available to you, I think it has to be done one at a time. It's impossible for us to record at the same time unless we have the same technology. We have the very top-notch internet connection, and we have the software that get rid of all the latency, right, or the delay.
Yes.
Because usually it happens when you play something, and the other end in Singapore will hear it like maybe millisecond after. That's usually a common thing that usually happens, right? Unless you have like internet connection that's fast enough, and you have a software that get rid of all these problems. I think people are usually doing jazz recording remotely, like but at the same time, I think they have a way to do it, but I don't know how actually. You must have like a very good equipment.
Yeah.
But for us, like we just do it like one track at a time. Yeah.
So it's like the drums first, and then the bass, and then on top is the melody.
For Jeremy project, I think he did play the piano first as a guide. For drummer, for bass player to record their parts.
Yes.
And once we have all the parts, maybe we can just like fix all the each part of, like Jeremy would comment which part that we supposed to fix, and then we fix it, and then he might like re-record his part again to make it perfect. Yeah, that's the way that's the way he did on that project, and which sounded quite good to me.
Yes,
but
yes,
of course,
definitely.
But of course, it would be great if we could do it, together at the same time. But
yes.
But it was impossible at the time because of the travel restriction.
Yes.
Yeah. The sound, and this day the recording quality and and the equipments, the interface, all the audio interface, all the gears are becoming less and less expensive, like less and less inexpensive, and you can get a very good quality audio interface secondhand or even brand new for like less than, say, like $100, $100 actually for like 2 inputs, So, and which is like, more than enough to record yourself if you are a vocalist. But for drummers, for jazz drummers, or for you kind of need like at least 8 tracks, right? Because for my setup, I use a secondhand Motu audio interface. Motu, I don't remember the model. 8.3, I think.
8.3, yes.
Very old model. With which is like 5-wire port.
Yeah.
And I have like a iMac, very old iMac with the 5-wire port. So I use that to plug in with my computer to record, and I don't have any other equipment, just the module, just the interface and the mic. I don't have any other like pre-mic or the fancy thing that in the recording studio, in the professional recording studio. But to me it sounded okay already. So sometimes you just like learn to get the most out of what you have,
Yes.
Yeah.
So how many tracks, mics do you use for a jazz drum setting?
For me, I usually for jazz drum recording, it can start from only like one mic, right? In the past, they use only one mic as the ambient mic, but or you can just go to like basic three mics, three miking situation, like two overheads, one bass drum. For my setup, I use I think 6 channels to record my set. Maybe I can send you a picture later for you to use as a footage. After the interview, I'm using 2 overheads, right? Bass drum, snare, and 2 toms. 6, right?
6.
Yeah, because I only have 6 mics. I don't have like any other additional microphones. Yeah, I only have 6 mics, and all the basic setup like Samsung, very budget, very cheap Samsung overhead CO2, and for snare and tom, I use SM57 Shure, right? For bass drum, I use Beta 52, so it comes in the pack, right? A Shure drum kit pack, and that's it. For 6 mic.
Oh, I see. Wow. And usually the jazz drummers like a trend is they use more simple setup to draw more sound. Like 4 mics or 3 mics as you said.
Yeah, for jazz is because I think for jazz drummer usually we are looking for a very like natural sounding drums. So what you hear, what you play is what you like to hear. So we like to control the everything by I think that most of the sound will be from the overheads because they have a saying that sound from the overheads for the jazz recording is the most important thing, which I believe, which I think is quite true.
Yes.
Because it will capture overhead mics will capture most of everything that jazz drummers usually play.
And the other mics is like enhance the sound in the overhead.
Just to give a color or just to be a kind of like a safe measure in case you want to punch in more snare or want to add more tone to the toms. It will just give you more colors, but the basic sound, the fundamental sound will be from this picture from the overheads.
Yes. Wow.
But I'm not maybe like I have only like this tiny knowledge of drum recording. What I know, what I learn, what I do from my setup is just from watching YouTube videos. So if like some of the audience like to get more into the drum recording, I think it's good to learn to go to ask from the sound engineer, from the respected sound engineer, because it's like another kind of like art, right? It's kind of like an art form. Sound recording, same thing like for the jazz drumming or jazz music. So I'm leaning toward this side, but I just want to know basic jazz drum recording to make this site sustainable.
So how long did you like play jazz music? I know you after like 2003, you started teaching in Silpakorn University.
Yeah.
So it's been.
Was it 2003? Yeah.
Through the internet.
According to my, it was on the internet.
School.
Yeah. 2003, 2004. Yeah. What it has been? How many years? 17 years, right?
Yeah, 17 years, 18
wow.
years. Yeah.
18 years. I think I started 2003 as a part-time teacher. I was playing at the time. I was playing with this Thai pianist. His name is Nup Vutti, great pianist who went to Chicago to study. I don't know, but he went to the state to study music, jazz music in the U.S. He came back, and I was very fortunate to, having a chance to play with him at the time, and we had a group together, and he was teaching at Silpakorn at the time, and he he asked me if I was interested to first be a part-time teacher, and later he offered me a full-time position. Yeah, and of course I said yes.
Yeah. So how did you start choosing playing jazz music instead of rock or funk?
I think for my musical background, it's pretty much different from today's jazz students, because you can see a lot of Thai jazz students at Silpakorn, at another university. They study jazz from the beginning, right? They study history of jazz. They study a straight ahead jazz from year one, from year one into year 4, or from pre-college. So they study right from straight ahead jazz, But for me, I started, listening or playing some other genre of music before I started with rock music during high school. So I was in the marching band, right? During high school. So typical for high school students. So we like to play rock music. So I started with listening to Bon Jovi, to a lot of that famous rock groups at the time, like Bon Jovi, or who else? Yeah, and then later, some of my schoolmates, some of them were into this fusion music. So they gave me some of the recording tape cassette. Actually, at the time, it was a tape cassette, right?
Yes.
So they introduced me to some of the Japanese fusion group like Cassiopeia or T-Square.
T-Square, yes.
At the time. So I, from fusion, and then slowly I listened more of the fusion group, Spyro Jella at the time, and
Yellow
at
Jackets.
the time, they're very cool, Yellow Jackets,
Yes.
So for me, I worked my way kind of a backwards, not forward.
I see.
Because I listened to rock first and fusion jazz, and then people. Actually, I have to thank all my colleagues and people around me who introduced me to all this music that I didn't know of at the time. So all the colleagues and people that I got to play with at the time, they introduced me to all this music, and slowly I absorb, listen to more of the history of jazz, Tony Williams, Max Roach, Elvin Jones, Philly Joe Jones, Roy Haynes, Jack DeJohnette, all these drum legends came later in my life, because I started with something else first. Yeah. So like that's why I mentioned that, you know, for me, I started differently from today's young people, because you can see so many Thai jazz students this day, they study, they start like, you know, with all the history of jazz. Because in school we have like a curriculum that, you know, okay, you have to listen to this, to this, to this. It's like an era of jazz, right?
Yes.
You have to listen to jazz era in the 40, in the 50, in the 60, you know.
Yes. Yeah. So in this process, who is your major influence? So there is a gap from like playing rock and then playing maybe rock fusion and then go to the swing or the bebop is different, because there's no like rock beat. You have to like swing. You have to learn how the language communicate between the musicians.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I remember, you know, like when I was in a transition period from listening to fusion, you know, and slowly moving towards listening to more of the jazz side. Straight ahead jazz. One of my bass player, his name is Ruch. He's a Thai great bass player who went to study at Berkeley. So he gave me a recording of Miles Davis, 1964. It's the double album, 4 and More, and My Funny Valentines, right?
Yeah.
So it's like all the fast swing on the 4 and Mores and all the great ballads on the My Funny Valentine albums as a double album, right? So I would listen to these 2 recordings every night, you know, with the kind of like a portable CD player. What's that called? The thing? Yeah, the CD player at the time, you know.
Yes.
I would listen to it every night for several months. Actually, for like a year or 2, just to try to understand. But I didn't understand at the time, to be honest. But just wanna get some.
They started like listening to jazz. They have no idea how to appreciate or how to understand that music form. Unlike the pop music, straightforward. You can easily.
Yeah, because for me, like the drummer in that recording was Tony Williams, right? He was like so advanced. Like in that period of time, 1964, right? He was only like 19, and playing with Miles Davis, with Herbie Hancock, with Ron Carter, with the saxophone player.
Wayne Shorter.
No, that was later. I think the other saxophone player. So, and I would listen, you know, over and over and over and over, and didn't understand it, you know, one single thing that he played. But I would, you know, keep doing it, you know, listening to it, and the sound, like, you know, when I'm talking to you right now, I can still, like, you know, get the sound of the, because for jazz drummers, the sound of Tony Williams cymbal is like, you know, everyone knows that, okay, that's Tony Williams, and many cymbal companies, you know, like they trying to reproduce the sound of Tony Williams cymbals. You can see like a lot of like cymbal-smith, like the late great Italian cymbal-smith Roberto Schino. He even like when he was alive, he did like a replica of the Tony Williams custom cymbals, and you can also see Istanbul Mehmet,
yes,
a few years back launched the Tony Williams models.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the classic. Those are the classic cymbals that
Yes.
that all jazz drummers like to try.
I think not only his cymbal sound, but also his time. His time is unlike Art Taylor or Philly Joe. It's different. It's more
his
aggressive,
cymbal phrasing. Because there was like none of the drummers that played like him, at the time. But of course, I think he listened to someone and tried to elevate, the playing, because like I think jazz drumming, is an evolution, right? So you learn from great drummers before you listen to someone and you get some idea and you try to make it your own, and that's already like an evolution in music in jazz drumming. So for me I think if it wasn't for that year or two that I listened to Tony Williams, I wouldn't have been in this position. I mean, understand like jazz to some extent.
I see.
So I think all the drummers like have their own way of like understanding music. For me at the time, I'm talking about how many years ago? 20 years ago. No, I think more than that, maybe 22 years ago. I was like 20 at the time. I think I started listening to jazz, straight ahead jazz, quite late. Not like, because this day people start to listen to straight ahead jazz at 10, at 11, at pre-college, right? For me, it wasn't until when I was around 20, that I started into this kind of music.
I see.
So I'm talking about 20 years ago. The process at the time, it so much different from today. I mean, learning process, right? Today you have YouTube, you have Spotify, you have iTunes Music, so you can listen to all the great recordings in the past, like at any time, at anywhere. I have one story to share. Talking about this technology, I remember, when I got into like the drumming, I remember I would have like a PC, right? A computer.
Yes.
But this is not good because it's kind of like a piracy something, because I would like have this torrent program software, and I know of. And I knew of this recording video of Chick Corea live in Bruno, Tokyo, with John Patitucci and Vinnie Colaiuta. It's a rare footage of the trio playing in Bruno, Tokyo, 1992, if I'm not mistaken. There was no YouTube, at the time, right?
Yes.
I would leave my computer on for like 2 weeks or longer than that without shutting it down to download 300 megabyte of 300 meg of the video. It took me 2 weeks something non-stop. And after 2 weeks, when the download is completed, but it was like so like emotion for me that I got to watch like Vinny Koida, John Pedici, Chick Corea Trio live in Blue Note. But today you can go, like, it will take you 5 seconds to search on YouTube and you can watch it instantly, right?
Yes.
But in my time, it took me maybe longer than 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The connection is so slow at that time.
Yeah. So it's, but you know, when things are harder to get, you tend to appreciate it more. You tend to watch every part like with attention, and you tend to learn the most, you know, from it, because you know you spend a lot of time, you know, waiting for the video to get the video, so you will appreciate it more, you know.
Yeah. So do you think because of this because of this situation back in the day is not as convenient as today, you will be more concentrate in listening? So compared to nowadays, some it's quite easy to listen to lots of music, jazz music. So people nowadays, the years is maybe, but I'm not sure, is less sensitive in general. I mean, in general.
For me, I disagree with what you are saying, because I think you can see a lot of young people, drummers or another instrumentalist. You can see the development and evolution of you know, like they're playing like jumps, like, you know, drastically, right?
Yes. Yes.
You can search YouTube like 11 or 12-year-old drummers this day. They can play like Philly Joe Jones. They can do they can play all the transcription with, you know, with precision. All the phrasings, you know, are correct. Because all the technology this day are easily accessible to them. They can watch all the you know, footage of their favorite drummers at any time, anywhere, right? I think this will transcend to all the development of the young jazz drummers. But I think what you were saying is about like the like the human side, or the feeling of the you know, of playing jazz with another people, because maybe these young people, they can play like everything so good, right? But when it comes to playing with another people, I think it's one thing, because in the old days, people learn how to perfect their craft by playing with others.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But this day, you will see a lot of young drummers playing like doing a solo by their own, filming the thing, YouTube, and that's great. But I think, but for jazz music, I think, you know, it's like you cannot speak, you know, by yourself for the rest of your life. You have to speak. You have to make a conversation with others. I think for me, I still like a drummer that, you know, make a great conversation. You don't have to be you know, you don't have to be a great like keynote speaker that you can speak on your own terms, right? But I think I like to listen to drummers who doesn't like do a lot of chops, but, you know, I mean, make a good conversation, make a, you know, like play in a play great with another musicians.
Yes,
That's what I usually look for in drummers when I like to listen to them.
What do you think is like the communication between drummers and other musicians in jazz music?
Yeah, I think that it's different from today and in the past, right? I think all this interaction, is perfected by by the but I mean through experience we learn what to say or what not to say through experience, right? Because when I was young, maybe I shouldn't play this or that, but I play it because I practice it, and that that sentence might not fit in with the conversation at the moment, and when other people hear it might think that, okay, are you trying to show off or something? So I think it's commonly commonly seen in all these young drummers, right? We play by we play whatever we like to play by not by not listening. I think to me, I always try to encourage my students at Silpakorn to listen first, listen to what others have to say, and then you respond accordingly. Sometimes you can respond by by in the same context, but with another answer, with some sort of sophisticated answer or something that maybe out of the context, but it will lead you to another area, uncharted territory or something. I think that can happen in jazz, but that's another level of playing, right?
Yes.
But for beginners, I think you have to listen first. Don't just play by yourself without listening to others. I think listening is the key to be a good good musicians, good drummers.
Yes.
Because by listening, you will know right away that are you speaking in the same context as other, or you speaking by yourself in terms of the dynamics, in terms of the dialogue, in terms of the intensity. Listening to me is the key. And it oftentimes that I play with my favorite bass player or piano player, we don't have to look at each other. We can just listen, and we know right away where we are at the moment. And maybe when I was when I rush or the bass player slow down, we will look at each other, and because we are not at the same meter, same time, we will know right away at a millisecond later that, okay, we're not at the same time. We just flip back into each other. That's from a good listen, because it's quite common that the drummers do the fill and we speed up a little bit, right?
Yes.
And maybe the bass player stick to the same quarter note, and maybe we are not at the same time. But by listening, the drummer and bass player will know right away. They may look at each other, okay, should we flip it back, or should the drummer flip back to the bass player, or the bass player will help the drummer? It's your fault, but I will flip back to you. I think communication and to listen is the key, to making a good conversation in music. And you don't have to be support. For example, if you consider that you are the best in the group, right? You don't have to be the one leading a conversation. I think oftentimes that all the great musicians, even though that they are considered the best in the group, right? In terms of the skill, in terms of the maturity, sometimes they just sit back and, okay, I like to hear what you have to say first, and then I respond. I think that comes with experience. You don't have to dictate the pace of the music. You don't have to always do that. Maybe I think sometimes it's fun to just like let others speak, and we respond, and we can just like lead them to another direction, and then sit back and wait for them to say something, and then we might actually it might take us to some other direction as well. I think music and making a conversation is quite the same, right? It's just like give and take. You don't have to like take it all the time. Sometimes and in at one night you might like give it whole night, and who knows, the next day you might like that don't have to give anything, because like you can just take it. It's just an give and take, give and take situation. Yeah.
So as a drummer,
because it's boring, right, to listen to one people speak all the time. Sometimes you like to speak too,
Yes,
so I think I kind of have this feeling that okay, it doesn't have to be me all the time that speak. Maybe like, okay, maybe why don't you speak, and I listen, and we try to make a conversation like an adult. That's very, I think that's a healthy musical situation that I'm trying to strive for.
Yes. And let's talk about the drum.
Sorry,
solo.
I interrupted what you were saying.
It's okay.
Let's
talk about drum solo in the jazz music. Is always we have after the head some musician solos, and then later we have tray 4, tray 8, tray chorus, and then maybe have a drum solo. So how drummers approach a drum solo so that it's kind of, we can so-called make sense?
Well, that's a great question. I think the only way that you can learn how to be a great how to do a great solo is by learning a transcription, how to play transcription. I have so many books, so many downloaded sheet music of the transcriptions of the great drummers like Philly Joe Jones. There's a book out, I don't know, I can't remember the title, like, because Philly Joe Jones, like, he recorded like hundreds of great masterpiece, right, of the solo that he played in the recording. So to me, like, by perfecting all this transcription, it will help drummers to be able to play jazz or drum solo with the correct language, with the correct jazz language. And by accumulating all this language and make it your own, I think this is a process that I believe all the American jazz drummers usually do. They learn the transcription, and they use the this 1 or 2 bars that they think is interesting and make it their own by changing the orchestration or changing the sound, because drummer A and drummer B, they can play the same transcription but with their own touch, their own sound of the cymbals and tom. The tuning, it will be completely different, right? Even though they are playing the same transcription. So I think if you like to play better when it comes to all this when it comes to soloing or trading, you have to learn to transcribe. And this day, with the technology, you can just go to YouTube. There are tons of great transcriptions by a lot of great drummers, and you can just ask for the sheet music, or you can pay you can buy all the transcription to help your playing better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think transcription is the key. Yeah.
I saw one of your performance in YouTube. Is I remember is anthropology. So after the training session, you do a 2 choruses solo, and that solo is amazing because I can like hearing the whole melody in your solo. The guitarist, I forgot his name, and it's like all the band is like in the form. So is it jazz drum soloing is like soloing on top of the song form or even the melody?
To me, when I do the solo, usually I think it's the same as other drummers might do. I would have the melody in my mind. So when I play something spontaneously, the melody will dictate what is going on at the moment. So I think by this way, by having a clear melody in your mind, you will never ever lose the form. And I think that's a basic, common rule of being a good jazz drummer. You have to be able to solo over the form, and you have to do something that, because drums are not the harmonic instrument, right? You cannot use the certain pitch to let other knows that where are we at the moment. We are at the section A, section B. By you playing the melody, right? The closest thing we can do is to use the tom or use our phrasing or orchestration to quote them that we are at this moment in time, we are at this moment in this section. But I'm not talking about aryhonic or melodic drummers that can do the that they can play the relative pitch to mimic the sound of the melody. So that's another thing. But I'm talking about because I cannot do like that, is another step up, way up. But I'm talking about playing the phrasing, or the phrasing that mimics the melody. So, but if you have a strong melody in mind, I think, and you try to play all the jazz vocabularies, by not like using jazz chops, right? But slowly and slowly, I think the melody will take you to somewhere else that you might not be able, that you might not play it before.
Yes.
But still in the same form, same context of the musical form.
Yes.
I think if you ask this same question to another drummers, I think the answer would be the same. I think melody is the first important thing that you have to be able to sing it. Because by singing the correct melody, you will understand the song form, right? And the musical form and everything will fall into the correct, to the right places.
Yes. So for the beginner to learn, so the more important is to sing, to learn the melody, to really can sing it tightly, so they are in the form.
And sing the melody, or sing the musical phrases, and try to clap any rhythm. You can sing melody and clap another like counterpoint rhythm, dotted quarter note, dotted eighth note over the bar line, or you can just start by clapping 2/4, whatever that suits you. You can start using rhythm together with the melody by just like clapping. You don't have to be at the drums to practice music. You can just listen to music and try to sing along. Try to understand the rhythm by that way. And later, you can just go to the your drums and try to play along with the music by singing the melody. And you can just do the solo over the melody in your head.
Thank you very
but
much.
Melody is very important. Melody.
Yes, because for some drummers they want to like learn jazz drumming, and sometimes it's difficult for them because maybe like playing pop, rock, funk is maybe similar, but it's different from jazz drumming.
I think rock playing, fusion playing, or funk, or I think each genre of playing requires certain thing. They are like totally different, right? From like jazz might require all the coordination, independence, jazz doing this right playing on right hand and comping voices on the other limbs, right? But for rock playing, you might need intensity. It requires you to play a little more in the physical side. So I think it just a different kind of music. I think I just actually asked I just told one of my students that if you it's good to be a all-around jazz drummer. Try to study each genre of music with genuinity, with genuine feeling, right? Because rock playing might ask you to learn this or that, fusion, all this like syncopation, or jazz playing, all the independence and jazz vocabulary. So the more you learn, the more the faster you will become a great, decent all-around jazz drummers. Like Whitney Corida, one of my most favorite jazz drummer. He's such a all-around jazz in every genre he can play with authenticity.
Yes, that's true. He's really all-around drummer. He's amazing. His ideas, his technique. Wow. He can play everything.
And so musical, and not just chops that he processed, right?
Yes.
And he can make everything that sound difficult. That's difficult sound very easy.
Yes.
And still in the musical context, not overplayed, not underplayed.
So for like jazz, the groove in jazz is we call it swing. Before back in the maybe 60s, 50s, the recording they have like not that perfect as nowadays, right? So maybe the time they will in the B session they will get faster, or during the bass solo they will like drag a little bit. But nowadays, like almost the recording in the jazz music is quite perfect. So do you like during the recording you will like use quantize or like use metronome to make sure the time is like perfect?
I think it depends on the situation. Because if I was hired to do a session with the jazz, with the jazz guys in Thailand. They might not, like me to use the click track to record because everything will sound so stiff, right? Like very boxy kind of way because like the tempo is very steady, and I think it's impossible to play ding 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 with the tak 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 click track, right? Because by listening to click track, you will lose like some of the concentration of listening to other musicians, interaction, all this interaction that may or may not happen at the time. So and I think 99 of the all the straight ahead recording, they don't use click track. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for other kind of recording like fusion or funk or like steady group oriented music, I think click track is a key to record. And also it depends on if you like to record like everything is recorded at the same time, or like or one by one, track by track. If you like to if the piano will come record and kind of like overdub later, or saxophone will come the next day, I think recording with the click track is important. It's necessary for that kind of situation, so that other you can just come and record with the click track or with the drums that not speed up, not sped up, or this. But I think it depends on like all these factors, genre of music, like I just, but of course as a drummer you have to prepare to be able to record with or without click track.
Yes.
Because as a sideman, they hire you to do what they like you to do, like they will hire you like to play. Okay, they like you to play with your own sound, of course, but they might, like as a producer, they like to hear some, they like to hear the drum sound, to be the way that fit their music, not your playing.
Yes.
So to use click track or not, it depends on, I think it's up to the producer or the one who hire you. But if I were to record my own project, so I would think of like the musical context first, whether or not it's the like kind of like a straight head kind of thing, or it's a groove thing. So then I would consider or the recording formation that we are recording at the same time or not, or track by track, one by one. So we will decide later whether or not to use a click track for each recording.
I see. So it's like by project is different. I see.
Yes.
So
there are a lot of factors involved.
So in jazz music, is the touch is very important, like for the jazz rhyme, for all the whole set. And your play is so refined and so detailed. You have like
thank you.
I love your playing a lot. And how is your like your touch, how it is developed? Is it from the marching band?
Actually, I was in marching band for only 2 years during my high school period. Only 2 years, but I wouldn't say I get all my touch from the time that I spent during marching band, but I would say all the the way that I approach, or my approach, or the way that I played on the instrument I got it from listening to all my heroes, all my favorite drummers, and I might sound totally different like if you watch my playing like 5-6 years ago or like 10 years ago, you wouldn't say like you wouldn't say what you just said, right? Because I think it depends on who I listen to at the moment. I would, maybe 10 years ago I would listen to like certain type of drummers and I would sound like maybe somewhat like them. And like today's, I listen to totally different kind of drummers, so I'm leaning towards playing similar, to them in terms of the sound, in terms of approach, in terms of the musical phrases. So I think to me, it's just like who I'm listening to now or before. Yeah. So because to jazz drumming, it's not part of like to us like as an Asian people, right? Jazz like was born in the state,
Yes.
So I think we have to listen to all the greats from the US.
Yes.
But not just the American people, but like a lot of people who migrated to the US and make the sound of their own. So I listen to like a lot of people, this say not just from the US, but from all over the world, because they have their own sound. And I like to like like study some more and learn some more and try to improve my playing, both in a musical side of playing and also the technical side of my playing, all the skill, all the independence, and hand-foot combination. So it like though there are so many areas that as a drummer you have to improve, learning music, try to understand like all the complicated music,
That's right. Wow, it's very fruitful for what we talk tonight. And thank you
so
very
much fun.
Yes, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Felix. Anytime. It was so much fun. Sharing, my musical background and my music career and to you and to those who are listening out there.
In Hong Kong, I think jazz music. Some people say jazz music is dying, but in fact, I can see more and more people want to learn, maybe to play jazz music. And your sharing is very important. So even for the beginner or the more advanced drummers, we can learn more from you. And and in Asia is it lots of like in Silpakorn they have jazz studies, like in Singapore, in Japan, right?
Yeah, they have like college with jazz department offering a degree in jazz, bachelor, ranging from bachelor to doctoral degree. I think all these colleges, help contributing to like the development of all the young jazz drummers, not just in Thailand but all over in Southeast Asia, including in Hong Kong.
I see. Yes.
Yeah. Through education, I think is important.
Yes. And the environment, the community, I think is also very important to keep sharing, to inspire each other, and to keep learning so that we can keep up.
Yeah, I think, and and before COVID, there were so many jazz festivals in Thailand. Hopefully, there will be some more next year, 2021, and all these jazz festivals. Of course, there will be a lot of great international jazz artists. Visiting Bangkok, and like they will have like a workshop and jazz master classes, or even like all these international jazz artists, coming to, going out to do a jam session. And I think all these activities help shaping local musicians like us to, shaping them to be a better musician, because they will get to hear what the master usually do, and it's kind of like a source of inspiration to us, getting to watch them physically, and hearing them. And I think we like to see some more jazz festival, like coming back, hopefully next year in 2021.
Yes. Hopefully next year we'll all like resume, and the music community could be back to like before. I know like in Malaysia, the music scene is like going back to like before. They have shows, they can play in the bars, the pubs.
Oh, that's good for them. I know some of the good friend of mine from in the jazz scene in Kuala Lumpur, in KL, like Michael Weirpan, great jazz pianist, Dasher Siang, another like young jazz great pianist, and Julian Chan, great saxophone player. All this, like, I think in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Bangkok, like or in Indonesia, like in Jakarta, like so many local, great local jazz musicians, waiting to emerge, or already like make themselves establish, and get to travel across cities, sharing and getting to know each other, like I do, like Jeremy, like Jeremy Monteiro. He opens a door to all these young jazz musicians in the region to meet each other, to learn with those who are better than you. I think I have to thank to thank him for this opportunity that he has been giving to me and to others in Singapore, in other cities.
He's really
thank
good.
you, Jeremy, if you're watching.
He's really good, and we are so happy to like see a group in the Asia All-Star Jazz Power Quartet. Yes. And the jazz group he's leading is amazing, really.
All the projects that he does, our amazing project with a lot of involvement of the local jazz musicians, jazz musicians in the region, and some of the greats from overseas, from Europe, or from the state, So he's kind of like a father of jazz networking in the region.
Yes. Well, thank you, Hong, for this fruitful sharing.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome, Felix. Thanks for having me, and I hope we get to do this next time soon.
I hope to interview you in the future one more time. Maybe next time I can go to Thailand and visit you.
You can do the YouTube content. You can do the content over YouTube when you come visit Bangkok, come to Silpakorn, you know.
Yes.
We get to do the interview for Thai jazz students over at Silpakorn and for other people to see a jazz scene in Bangkok, how it really is.
Yes, it's really beautiful. I always before like dreaming if in Hong Kong there could have a university to study jazz music. But in Hong Kong, it's different. We have no so-called jazz school, but people go to YouTube and go to bar to like jam sessions, to meet different players, to listen to their playing. This is good.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you one more time.
No, thank you, Felix. Thank you very much.
It's my big honor to have you be my guest and sharing so many very good information to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye.